And we have to still add the rest of the elements. But first, let's talk a little bit about how we can use the world path from this render to generate a radial mask that we can use for grading. So let's drop one of these shuffle nodes over here to the side, and let's organize this a little bit. And from this shuffle node, I want to bring in my P path. So this is the world position. So using this color information, we can drop down an expression node. And there is a very cool trick that I got from this tutorial from Wikipedia, and this basically explains how we can turn a position path into a mask, into a radial mask. So if I scroll down here, we can see that we have the world path of a 3D scene, and by using this expression over here, which we will type in a second, we can generate a radial mask. So I will leave the link for this tutorial if you want to check out the entire thing. I highly recommend it, so I will leave the link in the links file. And now moving back to Nuke, all we have to do basically here is for our alpha channel, I will set this to be equals to square root, so sqrt, and in between parentheses I will type r multiplied by r plus g multiplied by g plus b multiplied by b. So if I now preview my alpha channel, we can see that we have this small gradient here right in the center. And if I want to reverse this gradient, I can type, I can set this value to be 1 minus our value. And this basically gives us a complement, and we invert this ramp. So now if before this expression I adjust some of these colors from our P channel, so I will drop down a grade, we can see that this kind of messes up our expression, and this is because we have to uncheck this black clamp value. And so what I can do here is, if I drop down the gain, we are increasing the ramp. So we are basically giving this expression smaller values to process, which will in turn adjust the 0 and 1 values of our expression. So this is really cool, in which we can use these values to sort of create a 3D vignette effect for our ground, and we can use this as a mask to further control our grading. So what I can do from here is, from my main stream, which has the geometry, let's drop down a grade, and let's use this expression that we created as our mask. And I will plug this here. If I drop down the multiply here, let's maybe invert our mask, and we can see that we are sort of creating this vignette effect, only this is in 3D. So this will take our camera movement in consideration, and also the animation of our pieces. So we can pretty much preview this expression result here, and we can see that this is now also following the camera and taking account the position of the pieces. Alright, so moving forward here from our grade, we can also maybe turn down this mix value and just bring some of the brightness a little bit back in. And also maybe drop down a second grade here and also point to my mask. And for this I will want to increase the gain. So I will increase the brightness of the center here. And maybe the gamma as well. Alright. I will also want to create a grade node, and right here in the beginning, before the lightning strikes, I will want the whole scene to have a darker look. So let's go back here, let's create another grade node, and for this I will just drop the gain and make this really dark. And using this mix node I can now animate this on and off. So before the lightning strikes, we will create a key for our mix, and I will move forward a few frames, so maybe after the lightning hits, maybe up until frame 35, and I will set this to 0. So now our scene will start dark, and when the lightning hits, everything will be brighter. So this will be pretty much our geometry, and let's go ahead and add our smoke debris now. So let's press R, and let's bring in the smoke. And let's shuffle out our elements now. So let's grab one of these shuffle nodes, and bring it here. And from here, let's see, we will want, first we will use the fog, and I will just merge this directly into our main stream, and I will set the operation to be multiply. So I will talk a little bit more about this in a second. Let's maybe also grab a node here and make some room, because we will want to drop a gray node here. And also from here, let's drop down another shuffle node and link this up to our render. And this can be our shadow. And again, the same thing that we did for our pop, we will want to invert this. So maybe just grab this invert node and plug this here. So this will be the shadow that only the volume creates, and merge this over with our main stream. Again, this will be a multiply operation. And maybe also add some room here for our grading. And finally, let's grab another shuffle node, and we will want our lighting as well. So for this shuffle, maybe let's bring this over here, and let's shuffle in our volume, and I will merge this in our main stream. And this should be a plus operation. Okay, so now we have all of our elements in place. So let's actually start with our volume lighting. From here, I will drop down a grade, and I will use this grade to drop the overall value of this smoke, and then a separate grade, and this will be for the coloring. So let's just add a little bit of blue in this, and maybe just drop the red. So this should be good for now. Maybe increase the gain a little bit, so make this smoke a little bit brighter. And from here I can grab this. So this is the shadows, and if I disable this, we can see that we can affect the shadows that the volume leaves on the ground. And we can also drop down a grade from here, and by increasing and decreasing the gamma, we can tell this exactly how much shadow from the smoke we want. So maybe I will just drop down the gamma a little bit and have a little bit more shadows from the smoke on the ground. And then from this fog tint over here, if I drop down a grade, or actually if I enable and disable this, we can see that this affects the transparency of the smoke. So when I disable this entirely, now our smoke will be completely transparent, and when I enable it, we will have the transparency from the render. So with this grade node, what I can do is if I decrease the gamma, we have more transparency, so the smoke is a little bit more opaque, and as I increase the gamma, we turn the smoke more transparent. So let's maybe make this a little bit thicker and just decrease the gamma a little bit. So hopefully you can see now my approach to creating separate renders for all of these layers, and with the different AOVs. Now we can control exactly how much influence we have over each element, and also we can control the interaction that certain element has with the rest of the scene. So at each step we are controlling every layer individually. There are still some grading adjustments that we should probably do for the ground, but let's first add the rest of the elements, and then we can come back to everything and readjust as necessary. So let's maybe grab these nodes over here and bring this over, and this can be, let's place this inside a backdrop, and this will be our ground basically. So I will double click here and let's choose a different color for this. So this can be ground, okay, and then this will be our smoke. So let's drop another backdrop here, and let's import our lighting elements now.